welcome to Wednesday's rant. I just want to take a minute and talk to you about something that maybe you have struggled with, and if not, I want to challenge you. But it comes down to a phone call I received a few weeks ago. Someone called me on my phone. I looked at it. I couldn't take the call. I was in a meeting, and then a few seconds later, I got a text, and I looked down. It was from the person who tried calling me, and the text basically said, tired of always being the one to reach out to you. You never return my calls. You never answer. You never text. I'm out. Hope you have a good life. And I don't know. There's some truth to that. A lot of times when people call or text me during the day, they don't realize I do have meetings. I can't just pick up my phone during the day or text during the day. And maybe this conversation with this person is a little bit true in that I don't technically reach out to them that much, but when they reach out to me, I try to answer the phone or I try to text back and forth. And we've had a pretty good friendship, and I understand their frustration. But when they said, that's it, I'm done, I'm out, it made me think about what I want to talk about today. And that's simply that you need to have three types of friends in your life. Number one, those that fire you up, those that you fire up, and those that you share the fire with. So number one, those that fire you up. There are people that I hang around with, they just fire me up. They just are the kind of people spiritually or emotionally that just challenge me, teach me, educate me. Some I know personally, some I watch online, but they fire me up. Secondly, there are people that I fire up, that I know when I'm around them, I feed them, I give them energy, I give them life. And so I take time to be around them because I know that they're seeking that. And then number three, there are people that I choose to share the fire with. And that is, I'll sometimes hang around with people I wouldn't necessarily hang around with, except that I know they're open to the gospel. And I'll take time to share the fire, Jesus, with them. And if there are people who aren't open to me sharing the fire with them, then I don't hang around them. But I think it's interesting to look at the life of Christ. The Pharisees followed him. In fact, when the disciples were taking heads of grain and rubbing them together, and the Pharisees said, hey, your disciples are working on the Sabbath, there's a part of that story we could get to, but what's funny is this meant they were out of the city. The Pharisees never went out of the city. However, they were following Jesus. They were trying to catch him and belittle him and get him in trouble. And so it was interesting. The Pharisees followed Jesus. He never went after them. He never followed them. He didn't spend time with them. He knew, A, they weren't open to the gospel. They weren't open to be shared the fire with. Number two, they sure didn't fire him up. And number three, he wasn't going to fire them up. They didn't meet any of those three criteria, so he just cut them out of his life. He didn't hang with them. I think it's interesting that when you study the people who are most successful, they're the ones who have the least amount of friends. You would think the opposite. You would think the successful, the popular, the rich, the wealthy, that they have tons of friends. Tons of people want to be their friends, but in reality, when you talk to them, they will say, because of my success, because of my focus, because of my drive, I've had to cut out most of my friends, and I've really had to concentrate on those who really are my friends, those that fire me up, those I fire up, and those I can share Christ with. And finally, when you look at the life of Christ, he only had 12 disciples. He only had 3 that were in his inner circle, and he only had 1 that he called his best friend. I'd like to challenge you to model that. Have only 12 really close friends, only 3 in your inner circle, and only 1 best friend. And watch how that will cause your life to have greater focus, greater impact in the areas that you are focusing in on. So whether it's business, your spiritual walk, your family, whatever it is, let's eliminate and concentrate when it comes to friends. And if people don't understand, that's okay. They'll find another friend. And if not, that's okay too. All right, we'll see you next week.